Ahoy hoy fellow bookworms, my name is Caroline and I like to read books, so let's talk about them. Today's video is going to be the media book freakout tag. I am definitely doing this later than I'm supposed to, but YOLO, I'm going to do it anyway. This tag is just a bunch of questions about your reading year so far, and there is 14 of them, so let's just jump straight in. Question 1. Best book you've read so far in 2017? For this one, I'm going to go with Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor, which is probably a really predictable answer that a lot of other people have said, but I don't care. I loved this book. I think the writing in it was so lyrically beautiful. It just flowed really well. I loved the story. I loved the adventure. It was so much fun and so creative and unique, and I loved it. It was just so entertaining, and I loved Laszlo so much. Question 2. Best sequel you have read so far in 2017? This one's pretty easy for me. I'm gonna go with volume 7 of the Saga comic series by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. This volume was something else. Like, it was so emotional. There were a lot of really sweet moments, but then the ending is the most emotional thing imaginable. Like, I just love this series, and this was a great sequel, so 10 out of 10. Question number 3, a new release you haven't read yet but you want to. For this one, I'm gonna go with The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. I feel like I don't know heaps about this book, but what I do know is that it's set in like olden times, and our two main characters, Monty and Percy, are going on a grand tour of the world, and I know that there is a bit of a romance blossoming between those two characters. So I think there's a bit of a fantastical element to it, but I'm not really sure about that, but I guess I'll find out when I read it. So hopefully I like this book. Question number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. There's quite a few I could probably say for this, but the one I'm going to go with is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I've already pre-ordered it, and I think I'm really going to enjoy it when it gets here. Adam Silvera's other two books have made me incredibly emotional. He crafts these stories and these characters that are so vivid and emotional, and I just love them so much. So I think They Both Die at the End is maybe going to be my favorite of his, but either way, I think I'm really going to enjoy it, so I'm so looking forward to that. Question number 5, biggest disappointment. I've definitely read quite a few disappointing books this year, but the most recent one that I read is The School for Good and Evil, The Last Ever After by Saman Chanani, which is the third book in the School for Good and Evil trilogy. I just didn't enjoy this book. I was hoping it would be a really great finale, but I found it really repetitive, and it's such a long book that just drags on, and the characters go in circles, and all the development that they've undergone in the other books just seems moot in this book, and I just found it really frustrating and disappointing, and I didn't like it at all. Question number 6, biggest surprise. The biggest surprise for me so far this year has been A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. The reason I'm saying this book is that I always thought Patrick Ness and I just didn't get along. Like, I had read his Chaos Walking trilogy, I had read more than this, I had read The Rest of Us Just Live Here, and I didn't like any of them. And then people were raving about this book. I got really curious because it was being made into a movie, picked it up, and I really enjoyed it. It's not like a 5-star book for me, but I enjoyed it more than all his other books. It made me cry. It was definitely a big surprise for me that I liked something that was written by Patrick Ness for once. Question number 7, favorite new author. For this one, I'm gonna go with Nina LaCour. She's the author of We Are Okay. Her writing was really lovely and smooth. She wrote about contemporary life and grief and growing up and romance and falling in love and all this stuff. And it was just really beautiful and relatable, and I loved it, and I would definitely read more by her, so I'm really glad that I gave her a go, and I'm looking forward to reading more by her in the future. Questions 8 and 9 are newest fictional crush and newest favorite character. I'm combining these two because for both of them I want to answer Laszlo Strange from Strange the Dreamer, because he is the most precious fucking character ever. He needs to be protected at all costs. He's a little cinnamon bun, and I love him so much. At the beginning of the book, he's like this little librarian cutie who lives in books and likes reading about adventures that other people go on, and then he's like presented with the opportunity to go on his own adventure, and he just grows so much as a character. He engages in all this banter with people, and he's just precious, and I love him. He falls in love, and it's just, oh, he's so adorable, and I love him. Question 10 is book that made you cry. I feel like I cry really easily in books, but lately I've been quite stressed, and that's made me cry even more easily in books. So I am only 200 pages into my current read, and I have already cried more than once, and that book is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. This book spans over many years and is following our 4 main characters, and it's already quite sad because we are getting into the backstory of one character in particular, and he has quite a sad backstory, and so I got quite emotional. So this is the most recent book that made me cry. Question number 11 is book that made you happy. For this one, I'm gonna go with Queens of Geek by Jen Wild. This is a super cute story about three best friends who go to a convention called SuperCon in America, and it's just about their weekend there where they're like falling in love and coming out of their shells. One of them is a YouTube star who then strikes up a female-female romance with another YouTube star. One of our main characters is an overweight, I think autistic girl who is kind of struggling to confess her feelings to her best friend. And it's just this really great story about like friendship and being comfortable with yourself, and it's kind of cheesy, but also it just made me so happy because there was so much like a nerd and fandom culture in it, and I loved it so much. I'm smiling so much talking about it, so you can tell that it made me happy. Question 12 is most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. There's probably quite a few I could say for this one, but I'm gonna go with Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia, just because at the moment I'm so in love with this cover. Like, look at it, look at the spine, look at the back, it's got like a little comic panel. It is so cute, I think it's really adorable, and it has relevance to the story as well because, as I understand it, the main character runs like a webcomic, so these little characters are super relevant and adorable, and I just think it looks really nice and is just cute, so yeah. Question 13 is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? If I'm being completely honest, I would like to get through a large portion of these books considering how many of them are unread at the moment. So I will just say that I would like to get through a lot of the new releases that I have on my shelf because I think that'll be a bit of fun. And the final question, favorite book community members. I kind of go through phases of enjoying different people's videos, but at the moment I am really enjoying Lala's videos from Books and Lala because she's doing this closet unhaul series that I am just so hooked on because it is completely entertaining and so much fun to watch. I also really like Emily from Books with Emily Fox just because she reads this really great variety of books. She's so completely refreshingly honest with all her opinions, and I just think she's really cool. There we go guys, that was the mid-year book Freakout tag, and I know I was a bit late doing this, but I think the questions in this tag are really fun and I would love to hear your answers for them as well, so let me know down in the comments. I upload videos Wednesdays, Saturdays, and sometimes Mondays as well, so be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my next video. Toodaloo!